All right, let's get right into it. What if I told you that everything you think you know about attraction is, well, kind of wrong? It's not about your looks or your job or how much money you have. We tend to think it's all just luck or some kind of magic, right? But the truth is, there's a science to it. And today, we're going to break down that formula.
So, we're going to look at connection in a totally new way. See, it's not about the clever things you say or do. It's about a personal frequency that you are broadcasting out into the world 24/7. Seriously, think of yourself like a radio tower, sending out a very specific signal. The question is, what's your signal broadcasting?
And that leads me to a pretty direct question for you. Are you trying to attract people or even opportunities and the life you want the wrong way? Because a lot of the common strategies we use are actually based on some seriously flawed ideas about what really pulls people in.
Okay, so here's the core problem. It's this idea of divided energy. This is when what you say you want, like, I want a great relationship, doesn't match the energy you're subconsciously radiating, which might be a fear of getting hurt. It's like hitting the gas and the brake at the same time. You end up accidentally pushing away the very things you're trying to attract.
But what if you could finally align that energy? Well, you can. And there's a shockingly simple formula. It turns out if you can figure out and meet just 3 core needs in another person, the bond you create goes way beyond just liking them. It becomes this deep magnetic pull. Some might even call it an addiction. So, how in the world do you do that? It all boils down to this amazing framework, the 7 human needs. You can think of this as the secret language of connection, the operating system for every single person you'll ever meet. Everyone is driven by these, so let's crack the code.
All right, here they are. First, you've got comfort, which is all about feeling safe, secure, predictable. Then there's its opposite, change. That's the need for adventure and variety. You've got importance, the need to feel significant. Growth, the drive to constantly learn and evolve. Then, of course, love and connection. Serving, which is the need to contribute to something bigger than ourselves. And finally, there's this really cool transcendent one, the need for nothing, which is just a state of pure contentment. Now, here's the key. We all have all of these, but it's the order of our top 2 or 3 that basically defines our entire personality.
And here is a perfect, real-world example of this in action. Imagine someone whose number 1 need is comfort. They love their routine, they love stability. Now imagine they start dating someone whose top need is change, a total thrill seeker who wants to go skydiving on the second date. You can see the problem, right? They're going to constantly clash. There's going to be this friction, this subtle or not so subtle repulsion, because their core frequencies are just totally out of whack. So here's the secret hack, the big takeaway. Once you identify someone's top need, you can literally speak their language. If you meet their need for importance by genuinely asking for their expert advice, or their need for change by suggesting a spontaneous road trip, they will feel this instant, almost unexplainable connection to you. You're not just having a conversation, you're resonating with their soul. Let's just double-click on one of the most powerful needs of all, importance. We all have a deep, fundamental need to feel like we matter. Now, it's easy to judge people with big egos, right? But if you look at it through this lens, they just have a sky-high need for importance. The trick isn't to judge them, it's to meet that need.
And you know who was an absolute master at this? Benjamin Franklin. There's this incredible story about him that perfectly shows how you can use this need for importance to turn a hater into a fan. It's a fantastic case study in magnetism. So here's the scene. Ben Franklin has this super powerful political rival. And this guy doesn't just disagree with him, he actively despises him. He's blocking Franklin's projects, talking trash about him, you know the deal, a classic conflict.
Now, what do you think Franklin did? Did he try to be extra nice, shower him with compliments? Nope. He did the exact opposite. He went to his rival and asked for a favor. He said, "I hear you have a very rare and valuable book in your library. Might I borrow it for a few days?" This was an absolute genius move because it appealed directly to the rival's need for importance, his expertise, his significance. This move triggered something in the rival's brain that psychologists call cognitive dissonance. His brain had to do some mental gymnastics. His actions, "I'm doing a favor for this guy I hate," were in direct conflict with his feelings. So the easiest way for his brain to solve that puzzle was to change the feeling. It basically told itself, I guess if I'm doing something nice for him, I must actually like him. And believe it or not, they became lifelong friends after that. So, understanding these needs, that's the science, right?
but how you show up, the energy you bring to the table, well, that's the art. And it all rests on 3 core pillars of charisma that will just amplify your natural magnetism through the roof.
The first pillar is presence. And this is so much more than just not looking at your phone. It's giving someone your intense, undivided, one-pointed attention. It's making them feel, just for that moment, that they are the only person in the universe. In a world full of distractions, your presence is one of the greatest gifts you can give someone.
Number 2 is power. Now, this is not what you think. It's not about being the loudest person in the room or dominating the conversation. It's actually the opposite. It's an inner stillness, your poise. The source material calls it supreme repose. It's that calm, unshakable, centered confidence that makes other people feel incredibly safe and secure around you.
And the third pillar is warmth. This is your empathy, just shining through. It's what the source calls having kind eyes. It's that beautiful ability to make people feel seen, understood, and just completely at home when they're with you. When you can combine that powerful presence with that calm power and that genuine warmth, you become magnetic.
Okay, we've been talking a lot about attracting people, right? But now we're going to zoom all the way out, because this is where we get to the really big picture. This whole system isn't just about attracting a partner or a friend. It's about attracting your entire reality.
And here it is. This is the ultimate secret. The specific order of your own top needs, your personal hierarchy, that creates the fundamental frequency of your life. It is the signal you are constantly broadcasting, and that signal is literally determining what you attract into your orbit.
So let's bring it all together. Let's say your dominant internal frequency is comfort, but your biggest goal in life is to start your own company. Well, starting a business requires a frequency of change and risk-taking. You see the problem? There's a massive mismatch. The law of attraction will never work for you because your internal energy is actually repelling the very energy your goal needs to survive. You have to align your frequency with your destination.
Okay, so let's make this super practical. Here's your homework. Tonight, I want you to write down the names of 3 people in your life you want to have a better connection with. It could be your partner, your boss, a family member. Then, do your best detective work and try to figure out what their top 3 needs are. And for 1 week, just 1 week, I want you to focus entirely on meeting those needs without asking for a single thing in return. And then just watch what happens.
So I'm going to leave you with the most important question of all. Forget what you think you want for just a second, and instead, ask yourself this. Based on my dominant needs, my energy, my habits, what frequency am I truly radiating into the world? Because that frequency, that's what's creating your reality right now.